The second thing would be a spin out of one of our assets, and maybe we'd spin half of our asset first, and then the other half is a 1-2 punch on that.
StockPulse back here on location at the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference 2019. Got a good friend of the program, Jean-Marc Staude. That's Riverside's RRI on that venture. Jean-Marc, appreciate the time as always. Good to see you. I don't know what to make of the show so far. It's Sunday, but a lot of companies here, a lot going on basically. I know when we talked last, we were drilling down on Cecilia a little bit. Let's get a little deeper into that, and I want you to talk about that, the ins and outs of it, what you're really looking for.
Well, Cecilia, it's an epithermal, so it means shallow, high grades. They're nearby mines around Cecilia that are operated by companies like First Majestic and operated by Premier Gold Mines. And so for us, we're looking for another mine. Riverside has found discoveries. Our team has actually found discoveries that become mines. And so it's a Cecilia project. We're looking for something that can be rapidly brought to production. We work in Sonora, Mexico, where mines have been built very rapidly. Within 5 years of finding things, they get into operation. So what we're doing at the Cecilia project is drilling down into the higher grade zones. We've expanded the project 6 times last year. We've now negotiated a long-term access agreement for some of the key areas already in the beginning of 2019. In the next 3 weeks, we'll actually have more progress and results progressing on the high-grade zones of the main Cerro and also some of the other target areas around it.
Let's drill down into the metals a little more. What are you looking for, and what are the grades looking like so far?
You know, it's got 2 types of grades. It's got some high grades, 1 and 2 ounce gold. That gold is in old workings along old structures. High grade silver, 200, 300 grams silver. That's 8 or 10 ounces of silver. Nice grades for silver. And then we're looking for a larger bulk tonnage at the 1 to 3 gram level of gold, and there we're seeing for larger tonnages overall, for larger volumes. And so with the gold and silver, in some places with it together, and other places gold alone and silver alone, it's a whole district play that Riverside consolidated last year. So this year in 2019, we're able to carry that forward.
So project generator model, great jurisdiction. Talk about the partnerships and all that. And 19 or 18 was a really tough year. Talk about surviving that and where you're at in the overall scheme of things.
We're survivors, you know. I ran the Boston Marathon 3 times. I used to run 100-mile marathons. I'm a survivor. Riverside's a survivor. Riverside's been able to operate for 12 years as a public company and only have 45 million shares out. Even though those challenges that I faced personally as a company, we've done very well, and in 2018 we were able to get a partnership with Sinaloa Resources, who's a private company, to go public. It was difficult to get other partnerships, not so much because of the market, because of specifically in Mexico, we didn't know what was going to happen in the elections. The elections got resolved and we're very excited. The new steps that are going forward with the AMLO, the new president, are quite positive towards development. It was pretty exciting to see how Trump and the Mexican government were able to work out a new deal, a new NAFTA type of deal. Things are moving ahead in a good way. So we think for 2019, partnerships can come more easily. People will see that Mexico is going. Big companies like BHP, big companies that are operating Gold Corp, things like that are already active in Mexico in many ways. So we see it's a great place to go. And I think in 2019, we could get deals with those type of companies as well.
So investors like Newsflow. Give us some meat and potatoes here. What are we going to look for in the next 60 days out of Riverside?
So I think in the next 60 days and maybe about 65 days, because we're just it'll be in early April we expect, but maybe announcement of a new big deal. And we're working on that now. I think a second thing would be a spin out of one of our assets, and maybe we'd spin half of our asset first, and then the other half is a 1-2 punch on that. That'd be a couple of things. I think a third thing would be on copper. And I think you'd see that we have a copper portfolio, and we're really excited. Electric cars, electrification, a lot of demand for copper. Here at this conference, we've already had 4 copper companies coming to our booth to talk to us. And so we see we'll have a big activity of field visits and other things. And so that'll be helpful with the news flow for 2019, and particularly in the next 60 days.
A lot of competition out here in this space. How do you match up against your peers? What do you say to investors to differentiate RRI from the rest?
I think first is skills. Go to a group that actually speaks the language and has been there. Second is go to life passion. Who actually has defined that their life is about making a difference in Latin America? And I think really is around commitment. We've been committed to knowing the resources and looking out for shareholders. We've operated for 12 years. We have kept the share structure tight. We've put the money back in the ground. The life of the company, we've had $2 spent in the ground by partners for every dollar we've spent this entire company, soup to nuts, everything. Look for those type of commitments. We've been able to do that over a decade. I think that's what Warren Buffett says. Go to those people that are really those top 10 percentile or even the top 1 percentile, the people that really know it, have a mode of influence, a mode of control. People aren't going to know more about Mexico than us as a public company. People aren't going to be more committed than we are. And third thing is we use all local people. People that actually train there and work there. Many of them have worked with me back in BHP, Magma Copper. We found things in the past. So we really don't see a lot of competition. We actually see it as collaborators, potential partners. We don't want to be too egotistical, but we're very confident about our knowledge of Mexico and about the knowledge of how to do business and also how to look out after our communities. We've been able to work with them and make sure that we either setting up and putting in water systems or fixing the church or fixing the school. We work with the communities where we are. We always have, because that's our life passion. It's been for 40 years. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and Warren Buffett would be probably buying right now in this environment. A lot of deals out here.
Well, I don't know if he buys in this type of sector, but I definitely see low valuations, some of the lowest valuations we've ever been at, and I'm buying.
Not a lot of risk here, it seems. John Mark Staude, President and CEO, Riverside Resources, RRI on that venture. Thanks for the update. We'll look forward to tracking the success in the future.
Thank you.